All right, welcome to the Novi Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Jesse. We have Estefania here. How you doing?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. I think we both just kind of got here around you know, I was doing something, you were doing something. We just got here, and we were just kind of getting to know each other a little bit, as
Yeah.
far as like, some of the things that you can talk about, right?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
really quick, Stefania, I did want to get your kind of like just before we start talking about like the pageant and you competing and all that. I did want to get your backstory on how you kind of started or what
Okay.
got you into it, because I always find it interesting for a lot of girls because they there's different reasons why people get into it, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to know what your side of the story is.
So, I am Mexican American. I'm currently 21 years old. As a little girl, I would do a lot of dancing. I noticed that like I would like to perform. Even if it was like in middle school or high school, I would do talent shows. I would be in the cheerleading team. So I always really like to put myself out there. Some might say I like the attention. Um, and so, in Mexico or like in Mexican culture, they always celebrate the traditional quinceañera
Sure, yeah.
birthdays.
Yep.
So my mom, she's somewhat of an introvert and she is not the type to host. So I didn't want to add that pressure to her because I completely understand. And so because I didn't have a quinceañera, I always thought to myself like I want to have a special occasion besides prom. I think that's where it clicked in. Like during prom in my senior year or junior year as well, um, something clicked in. Like I really like the idea of having to get glammed up with these long gowns. But I never thought about pageantry yet until 2022 when I was watching Miss Universe. I saw Miss USA, Arbani Gabriel. She won. And I was like, okay, like, let me see what part of USA is she coming from. And then I saw she came from Texas and then Houston. And then I saw that, like, when she was competing for Miss Houston or something like that, she was representing Friendswood, which, fun fact, Friendswood is right next to Pearland.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's a little too local.
Yeah, that's really close.
Yeah, and so then that's where I finally like, okay, I might consider it
Yeah.
just to have a reason to get ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I do I I really like that story because again, we kind of got inspired by watching, a huge, I mean, a lot of people watch that show,
Yeah.
the Miss Universe, right? And
Yeah.
to find out they're like your next door neighbor is kind of
Yeah.
inspiring, huh?
Yeah, it was inspiring because it was like, wow, like maybe I can consider participating.
Right. Yeah.
And so I started looking into pageantries, but I did grow up in a Latin community, not really diverse. So participating in a diverse beauty pageant seemed a little too much for me as a beginner because I was 18 at the time, 19, sorry. And so when I heard about the first pageant that I competed, Miss Texas Latina, I was like, oh, like this is so cool. You represent where you're from, your culture, your heritage, Western outfit, and as well as interview and gown. And you obviously get to meet all these wonderful ladies. So then that's when I was like, okay, like, let me do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do find it again really interesting because I mean would you consider yourself an introvert? I know you said your mom is an introvert.
I feel like I always thought to myself, I'm an introvert, but maybe deep down, I'm probably an extrovert.
Well, I feel like that happens a lot too with people who I feel like there are some people who kind of grow up whether because of poverty or for whatever reason they got the responsibility of taking care of themselves whenever parents are supposed to, or even more of a burden, you have a responsibility to take care of others, say a sibling or a cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I do think we find that a lot in the Latin culture, which can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing because you don't get that much time for yourself and to figure
Yeah.
yourself out. So you finding later on in life kind of like what your thing was, because you said that you didn't, later on you felt like you missed out on the quinceañera, you missed out on probably dance. At what age did you start dance?
I would say in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that late, but I do find a lot of us tend to start late in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you felt?
Not really. Maybe a little bit, yes. But I still thought to myself, like, I can still learn. I just feel like I have it in me. Like, it's something natural to dance. So,
Well, not dance, just everything in general.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
Um, I don't think so. I think that if if I were to start doing something young, I mean that would be great, you know. But that would probably be something that my parents wanted for me. And so me figuring out what I like to do later on, which is still pretty young,
yeah,
in the late teens, is like, okay, like that's part of my self discovery.
right.
So I think it's pretty good still.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot to learn, so
Mm-hmm.
that's really good. So it looks like the TV show Miss Universe was the one that got you inspired to start beauty pageant, right?
Yeah.
Um, from that position or from that point, you said you started Road to Miss Texas Latina, right?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Definitely life changing because as I was going road to Miss Texas Latina, one of the biggest things that I discovered within myself is that I actually enjoy doing community service. So one of the things in beauty pageant industry is that they highly recommend for you to, put yourself out there, give back to the community as a beauty pageant queen. And so when I started accepting these opportunities, I realized like this is so much fun because not only I'm helping people or helping the environment, I really like doing this. So ever since, I feel like at least once a month, I was just doing as much community service as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really liked it.
Yeah. So doing community service and doing a lot of putting yourself into the this new world, because I mean, like you said, you found out that you liked community service, or you found out. I think this happens a lot to a lot of people too, where they find out that, oh, this is something that I'm actually interested in
Yeah.
after trying something.
Yeah.
I think that happened to me whenever I started dance. Like dance wasn't something
Oh.
that like I was like super into dance. I was like, let me take a class. You know,
Oh, how old were you when you started?
I was like 22.
No way, really?
Yeah, I was like 22 whenever
Wow.
like I took my first dance class.
Wow, you're great. Now you're a choreographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's never too late.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I always think of this phrase that I learned in college. It says, you can always learn, unlearn, and relearn. And so I always think to myself about that. Like, yeah, like you can always learn. And if it doesn't go right, unlearn it. Forget
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then relearn again the
Agreed.
right way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you found out that that was something that you really enjoyed to do, as far as like community service, being a part of the community, helping other people out, and being social, right? Because that's some of the things that you end up doing. You meet
Mm-hmm.
new people, you're able to have an impact on others, right? what's
Yeah.
uh what's some of the memorable things that you remember doing, as far as like community service or humanitarian work?
One of the most memorable things in my last beauty pageant was meeting my current pageant sisters.
Okay.
I think that when I was in high school, I also struggled with like I don't know, like I felt lonely, or like I didn't get to connect with many high school classmates compared to other people. Where
Why do you think that was?
um I don't know. I mean, probably because some of my friends went out of state.
Okay.
And so I stayed in town
Right.
because I just didn't feel ready to go out of town. Like I also kind of missed out on the opportunity to go to my dream university, which is 5 hours away.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I could have done that,
Right.
but 18-year-old self me couldn't.
Yeah.
So I just felt like, oh, like I feel like, it's time for me to make new friends. Like I want to meet new people that I can relate to.
Hmm.
And so, as I was meeting a lot of my pageant sisters with these events, I really connected to like a handful of them really deep. Like, wow, like you're literally me and I'm you. Like, it's just so much fun. And then they ended up being my roommates. And two other girls, they ended up helping me out so much. And I actually still hang out with them because they live like really close. But the other girls, they live really far from Texas,
Oh.
8 hours or 4 hours away. But we still stay in touch. And like when you have friends that you haven't talked to in a while, but the second you talk to them, it's like nothing happened. Yeah. So I think that is the most memorable thing. Like meeting my pageant sisters, and they're so sweet. I love them. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that can happen a lot too. You end up doing something new, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, it was this beauty pageant.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do you find out that you have these new hobbies that you really enjoy doing, but you end up meeting new people, and you, because like you said, you started to socialize. In high school, it was a little bit different. In your case, right? You said you felt a little lonely. I do feel like that can happen to a lot of people, especially in the social media age where um you can have so many friends
Yeah.
on Instagram or whatever platform, but you don't have that connection.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is kind of like what happened with you. A lot of people go out of town because of school, and then
Yeah.
people end up in different areas,
Or
and
like outgrow each other.
that too, that can happen too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like no bad blood or anything.
Right.
It's just a part of growing up, I think is what it is, because one of the major things that I notice is that I just feel like I meet new people every single day, which I really enjoy. Like, what? No, nobody's robots here. Like everybody has their own book of life.
Right.
So
I think even we met on in the Houston Millennials.
yeah,
Shout out Ivan. We met at a, I don't even remember which one it was, but it was just
the art. No.
no, it wasn't the art. It was one of the after dark events.
Okay.
Um, and then I think we also just connected over a mutual friend, which is Amanda.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah, and I met her through my previous beauty pageant.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
really quick, well, I do want to touch a little bit on the Houston Millennials, but
Yeah.
how did it end up with Road to Miss Texas?
Well, I ended up winning first runner up. So close to Miss Texas Latina.
So I used to get confused on what that meant. So
Oh,
like
okay.
first runner up, what does that mean? Second place,
Yeah, second
right?
place.
Yeah.
So I I really couldn't believe it. Like, what? Cuz from watching the show Miss Universe to considering like maybe I should do it, but it's my first beauty pageant, and then doing it specifically where it's not diverse, where it's mainly Latinas.
Hmm.
Um I felt like being myself is what got me as first runner up.
Hmm.
So after that, I was like, oh my God, like, I just can't believe it. Like,
Right.
not only I have met so many wonderful people, like, literally, shout out to all of you. Y'all know who y'all are. um, I realized, like, wow, like, I just have to believe in myself. Like, it's all about, yeah, like, everybody has potential. But once you actually take action, that's where it's like, Oh, now you got an answer.
Yeah. What is a so I guess for the people who know, I know a lot of your followers are probably also competitors or pageant sisters, but what does it mean to win first place, or what does it mean to be a first runner up or to win?
I believe that being first runner up or, making it to the top three winners, that means that not only you had your self discovery, but other people saw what impact you left on road to whatever beauty pageant you compete or I compete. Um, so then that's when I realized, like, wow, like people were watching what I was doing. So that actually made me feel appreciated. Like, oh, not only I discovered me enjoying doing community service, meeting these beautiful people, but like people noticed. And I was like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
because like I mentioned earlier, I feel like I've always liked the attention. And for me to get the attention or acknowledged that I was doing something great, I think that that really meant a lot to me. And so, being first runner up means that if the pageant queen can't commit to her reigning time period, then they pass it on to the first runner up. So it is like a responsibility still, like, although you may have won second place, you still got to continue your legacy or
Right.
continue what you're doing.
Yeah.
Continue being yourself because at any moment, you can be the next beauty pageant queen. But not only that, like, you learn so much from it. I feel like I learned so much from it because I did reflect, like, what was it that I missed out on or what was it that I didn't do properly? And to me, I believe it was my public speaking skills,
Yeah.
that I lacked on. So with Houston Millennials, the organization, that's where I finally, like, they have helped me a lot with my public speaking skills for sure.
Yeah, they've given you opportunity to speak or
Yes,
talk.
so the organization Houston Millennials is an organization that I met during my beauty pageant process. So I noticed that they would do a lot of networking events as well as community service. The community service was where I stuck around the most. And so whenever I would go to these networking events, I met some of the members. Shout out to Perla and Ivan and everybody else. Um, and so when I met so many people there,
Right.
because the purpose of that organization is to meet like young professionals.
Networking. Yeah.
Yeah, I met so many. I met so many that like I felt like, what am I doing? As in, like, what can I brag about? Because I'm meeting people that have graduated college or have their businesses. So it's like, what am I doing? But once I share what I'm up to, I do this, I do that, they're pretty impressed.
Hmm.
And so some of the members, for example, Perla, uh, she has a nonprofit organization called Hearts of Grace, and that's where I decided to join in as an ambassador to continue doing community service as well. So that organization has helped me so much with public speaking skills because the president of the organization, he has put me in positions where, let me
Gives you
just
opportunities.
speak on the mic
Yeah.
because he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I did want to ask you before I continue on to Houston Millennials, for a lot of the people that follow you, I believe, because again, did you at one point, was there a point where you were confident that you can go into Road to Miss Texas Latina and win, um, or at least participate?
Yes. So when I considered Miss Texas Latina, I felt like I wanted to be so secretive, that little mysterious girl. Like, what is she up to?
Hmm.
So it actually took me 1 month to even go public on Instagram.
Okay.
I think it was a lot of pressure only because I guess I had that fear of like, social media, there can
Right.
be a wrong audience where, you can get stalkers and stuff like that. So that was the only thing that had me anxious about going public on Instagram, for example. So when the potential that I saw, like, okay, I can participate, was not only when I got approved, but as well as because I know my talents. Like, okay, like
Yeah.
I want to get ready. I love getting glammed up. I
Okay.
love sharing my heritage, and so I think that just me believing in myself is what
Okay.
led to me having that confidence.
So you would say that you did have somewhat confidence because you felt like you had some kind of talent, and then the little fear that you did have into going into this was kind of minimal, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say for those people who, or for those girls who are trying or wanting to get into, but they feel like they don't have that much talent?
I believe that do your research, look into the beauty pageant that you want to participate on because most of them, if not all of them, they don't require specific talent. So, as long as you believe in yourself or you want to get out of your comfort zone, like do it. I think that the point of a beauty pageant is to feel your innermost beautiful self. And I personally believe this phrase of like, get comfortable being uncomfortable in a good way. So, although I had that tiny spark of me believing in myself, I struggled so much. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but getting out of your comfort zone is what helps you discover yourself a lot.
I agree because because I worked with a lot of girls in the pageant industry, um, and kind of like you in your journey, you found out that like, hey, I actually do like humanitarian services, or I like
Yeah.
to help people, right? And I feel like a lot of girls they, and this is not just girls, this is for a lot of people that they don't exactly know what to do,
Yeah.
is that they go into doing these things not knowing that they actually do have a talent or
Mm-hmm.
that they actually
Have a passion.
have a passion for something, and then they get into pageantry and they may or may not have a passion for it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like at least you know you don't have it and you can move on
Yeah.
to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a lot of people, a lot of girls found out that they actually do.
Yeah, so that's what I really like to believe that like you'll never know whether you like doing something or not until you give it a shot. I'd rather me personally, I'd rather know the answer whether I like it or not instead of always living my life with the what if. What if I did it? What if I didn't do it?
Exactly.
So might as well do it.
Yeah.
The worst you can get is you didn't like it
Yeah.
or it didn't work out for you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I did ask you about talent. Now, what would you say to a girl that doesn't have the confidence?
What I would tell a girl that doesn't have the confidence but is still considering a beauty pageant, I believe that's already having confidence because there's something in you that you just need that extra tiny push to do it. So I would let the girl know go for it at your own pace. Don't compare yourself to anybody.
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's something natural that happens because again, you're in a competition.
Mhm.
You it's kind of natural to like look at somebody and be like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna compete, and then you kind of automatically start
Compare.
comparing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a big struggle. Sometimes I would catch myself comparing. And it wouldn't be like, oh, I envy this person. Absolutely not. It was more like I probably don't have what she has. And so I also think to myself, they are just as nervous as I am. So actually on beauty pageant weekend, I can tell like I feel like I have a good discernment. So I'm like I can tell like the vibes, the energy. And so I noticed every girl in the room was nervous. Or maybe not nervous, but like in their own tiny bubble.
Yeah, everybody's human.
Yeah. And so I thought to myself, well, they are. just as nervous as I am. So let me just talk to them.
Right. I do like that. I do like that because I think also in your case, like you said, what if there was like most of the girls were a little bit nervous, but what if there was a few that were like confident and they feel like that they're gonna win first place? I think that's something that some of the girls can take from that and learn from
Yeah.
it. I like how you said that like you were straight up. You were like maybe she has something that I don't,
Yeah.
which I mean you can't really do anything about that. When somebody has worked for something, you can't like I said, it's hard for you not to compare, especially if you're competing. So what I think can happen a lot in competitions, whether that's sports or whatever competition it is
Yeah.
just be inspired.
Yeah, for sure. And so because I was mainly the first one to talk to them. Very natural. Not
Yeah,
like, oh, my name is Estefania. No, just be like, I love your earrings. Where did you get them? Because it's true.
yeah,
I would always like compliment something good that I like about the person. That's one thing I actually tell one of my friends. I always see the beauty in everybody because comparing yourself is not going to get you anywhere. You just have to understand that you are who you are and you have to love it.
yeah. I think the
Mm-hmm.
last thing that I'll say about that is it kind of happens in business a lot where um, obviously you're in competition of another company, right? But it's so easy to compare yourself and to try and compete
Yeah.
versus collab. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that you were able to do. You were able to go to a lot of these girls and befriend them, whether they're an inspiration to you or whether they're, you're an inspiration to them. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter to you. So,
Yeah.
befriending both, collaborating with them, it's yeah, it's
It's a good impact. Like
for sure.
what I mainly wanted to get out of it by, introducing myself or befriending people was just for them to feel comfortable and included in the beauty pageant because it was my first time. So I think to myself, what would I want to feel like in my first competition? I want to feel included. I want to have a great time. There's so much money spent or invested. So I personally made sure that, every girl got to experience meeting one of their pageant sisters. And which is why I was friendly because I have no reason to be mean. There's no reason at all. And yeah, like, so because I ended up talking to everybody, I ended up winning Miss Congeniality as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that whether it's the judges or just people can see that not only are you not like competitive and like being over Miss Grouchy or whatever over
Yeah.
here, they see that you're over there, you're talking to people, you're networking, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I want to get into when it comes to Houston Millennials or business or pageantry or whatever competition, whether runway or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you feel like okay, so whenever you started the first time you went to Houston Millennials versus now, which how long have you been?
A little over a year,
A
like a
little over
year
a
and two
year. Okay.
months.
So how is it the networking vibe? Like how did you learn how to network? Because I feel like there are some people that like and I've talked to a few of my friends because I've gone to these events and then I tell them like, hey, let's go to a networking event. Like they tell me they're into business or they have a passion, they want to share it. Like let's go to a networking event. But they're like, I've never been to a networking event and it sounds scary.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them?
So my very first event at that organization slash networking event happened to be Bosses in Heels 2024. I showed up as, with my beauty pageant sash, Miss Perlin Latina. I seriously had no idea what to expect. I didn't even know it was a networking event. I just knew I had to show up. Not that I had to, but I decided to show up. So I I feel glad that I had a very good first impression actually by the president of the organization, Ivan,
Mhm.
because he was the very first person that greeted me.
Nice.
And it's so funny because I showed up from an invitation by my beauty pageant director, I didn't know we had a RSVP or have tickets. So I was like, "Oh, I don't have a ticket," or like I didn't know I was supposed to. He's like, "Don't worry," and he gave me like a promo code.
Yeah.
And so I walked in, I'm like, okay, like I see vendors, I'm meeting, but I was such an introvert. That's where I felt okay, this is out of my comfort zone. I I was waiting for my director, like I need someone like to hold my hand here.
So okay, so just kind of walk me through how did it go? So you met Ivan at the front door, and you bought the ticket, right?
Yeah.
So right there and then you're like, oh man, I messed up. Like I didn't have a ticket. And maybe you felt like you went a little embarrassment because
Yeah.
you know. So you're feeling a little bit down, but you still want to do something with this network. So like, um,
Well, now that I'm inside,
right, right.
like, yeah.
Okay, so then like, what did you do next? Did you start talking to people like an extrovert, or like how did that go?
So I started walking around and I noticed some of the vendors were the ones that talked to me first. Like, oh,
Right.
like, you know, you're Miss Perla Latina at the moment.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, yeah, like, that's where I finally felt comfortable. Someone talking to me
Right.
first.
Yeah.
And so it was actually very interesting because I started talking about the beauty pageant and like my journey. And that was a year ago. And after that event, I noticed that the girl I shared about this beauty pageant ended up joining.
Mm.
So I was like, oh my God, like
You were an
I can leave an
inspiration.
impact.
Yeah.
And as well as just the environment overall, it was an all women's event where they nominate 6 women here in Houston that have left an impact
You said it was 2022?
for 2024.
Okay, okay.
And so when I saw, like, there's just, you know, me being, this is my first time at a networking event, and I just see 6 women talking about, you know, their legacies, their empires. Um, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so nice. This is so, like, girly, friendly, and it's like literally boss women,
Yeah.
bosses in heels, literally.
Yeah.
And so I really like the energy. Like everybody's there to support everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I would see some really attractive women, and I'll be like, oh my God, like they might not want to talk to me, but they did. I was like, oh my God, like literally, you just gotta find out, you know, like put yourself out there.
Right. So you said as soon as you got there, you were feeling all types of
Yeah.
feelings because I mean it's an event where there's just people walking. They might
Yeah.
ignore you because they might be thinking of something else, and then I think as people we put our own ideas or stories
Yeah.
into our head. You see a person walking by and they're probably thinking about something or wanting to talk to
Yeah.
someone, and then you're over here thinking like, oh man, he does ignore me. He doesn't want to talk to me, or she does ignore me. She doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's all in our heads. Like, I personally believe that we are our worst enemies.
Yeah.
We are. It's all in our heads.
So then, once somebody did that first conversation to you, you just felt
I felt welcome. I felt included. I felt
yeah.
comfortable. I felt like, okay, like I can loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, so I think that's what a lot of people can do whenever they go to these networking events.
Yeah,
Just um number one, like
that's the point.
people are people.
Yeah,
And so like no one's gonna be like, oh, you just talk to me, don't talk to me. Like it's a networking event. People are there to talk to
that's
you.
the point of the
Right.
event. Yeah.
So and then the other thing that I really like that you said is just be yourself, right?
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
I think I think there are points where like networking event you kinda have to go through that arduous like what do you call it, like small talking stage, like, oh, what's your name, what do you do, and then
Yeah.
but once you get past that, you can there might be people that you connect with,
Oh yeah.
there might be people that you don't connect with,
Or
which is
like
fine.
just a high and by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So like the first time compared to now, now it's like I say hi to the whole world. Like I love to introduce myself. Like I'd like to get to know you too.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a special skill that eventually, whether you don't need it now, they'll come in handy.
Right.
I have met so many people through those networking events um, where, like I mentioned, I met Perla. Now I'm
Yeah.
part of, you know, a nonprofit organization. I met an artist, Artiste by Harry. Shout out to you. He drew me. Never in my life I thought I'd have someone draw me, but
Yeah.
it's like that is so awesome, and it's all simply because you get to know the person.
Imagine like a lot of the things that you're doing now, like for
Mm-hmm.
me, like even us, like
Yeah.
we met each other at a
Through the
through
events,
the
yeah.
so like. you're doing all these things other than maybe Road to Miss Texas Latina, but what are you doing? You're doing ¿cómo se llama? The Perla thing,
The no, the
the
Hearts of
nonprofit
Grace, yeah.
organization. You're doing all these things that came from the networking events.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people are missing out on opportunities whenever they don't go and network. And not even that, like
Yeah.
you don't even have to go to a network event to find some opportunities. You just have to talk to people.
Just talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we are here for in this world. Like, it's free to meet people.
Yeah.
And if there's a certain event where you can meet people, like, I would go for it.
Right.
Especially like if you're bored or,
Yeah.
and it's not just that. Like, I also think to myself, well, everybody has different lives. Sometimes people can go as well because they feel lonely.
Yeah.
So I like to make sure I talk to everybody. Like, obviously at a distance, but like
Claro.
make everyone feel included. I think it's really cool to meet all kinds of people. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shifting, before we move out of Houston Millennials and get on to our last topic, um, I know we talked about a lot of the opportunities that networking has brought out to you. Um, you said you're either, are you still looking for sponsors or?
Yes. So now I had enough courage to join Miss Grand Texas.
Yeah, so just to be clear, it's another pageant, right?
Yeah, which is a completely different pageant that I'm currently participating in. Um, it's definitely diverse, but I'm really excited. Like now, based on my previous experiences and knowing how many opportunities I was given and how many people I have met, I now have like a solid platform. Like I know what my mission is and what I really want to accomplish.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And so now with this security and having the networking, I still have to put myself out there looking for sponsorships, but it hasn't been as like hard or intimidating compared to a year ago. Cuz now it's like, well, I know these professionals, maybe I can reach out to them or
yeah,
feel comfortable to reach out to them. And it has helped me so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So throughout all of this, throughout you participating in the pageants, throughout you going to these networking events, not only have you met new people, not only have you gotten so many opportunities like this what we're having, the nonprofits, but you've acquired skills that will even propel you even further,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So now that I have something in mind, like, okay, what is it that I want to represent? I'm currently still a college student for dental hygiene. I've been a registered dental assistant for 2 years. So I worked at a dental office for 2 years, and I currently work at a medical spa. Um, so, as someone that is still going to college, I also know the challenges like, financial aid, having time to work or to study, social life, to go out. It's a struggle. It's not going to be easy. And God bless for the people that it is
Yeah,
easy. Um, so I want to represent, as a first gen Latina here in Texas. Not only am I currently going to college, but I want to provide resources for students, for college students that are in the same path as me, that may require financial aid or just, have big goals that they want to turn their dreams into diplomas.
mm,
And so with my networking and everything, I am not only running for the crown, but to also fundraise $10,000 for 10 scholarships, which I collaborated with Houston Millennials and Hearts of Grace to make it all happen, to make it possible because I believe in myself and I believe in every single college student. It's hard.
yeah,
And so I think that would be such a blessing for me to help students for sure.
yeah. I mean, raising $100,000 is not easy, but I mean, you're doing it for a good cause, and
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's been hard. It's not easy. Not everything is easy. You know, everybody has to work hard for it.
Yeah.
But I'm just very grateful with my sponsorships, which I'm still looking for sponsorships if you'd like to sponsor and, be a scholarship hero. I
How does that sponsorship work? Like, how does somebody help you become?
Yeah. So if you want to impact a student's life or, fundraise for a scholarship, like you are more than welcome. And you get like acknowledged that you were a donor um by Miss Grand Texas, Miss Grand Pearland. So it also helps me with like my platform, but as well as leaving a good impact for someone. So with my sponsorships, so far I have only gone up to people that I feel comfortable with,
Mhm.
like know personally, and that also believe in myself, believe in me. But I that's just part of the challenge. Like maybe push myself and put myself out there for more people that may not know me personally,
Right.
which requires me sharing a little bit more about me. And I think that them seeing that I do believe in myself is what makes them like, oh my God, like this girl's doing something great. And I will help, my business will help some impact someone's life.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that,
Nice.
which I'm actually having a press conference June 22nd.
Nice.
You're invited.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, send me the information and I'll be there.
Yeah, everybody's invited. I'm being for real.
So, moving on, just onto our last topic. You did mention a little bit of like something that you had gone through recently. I don't know how recent it was, but I think it's also something you're campaigning about. What is that whole experience and campaign that you said?
The campaign, well, it's mainly the beauty pageant.
The
It's
so uh I'm referring to the experience that you had with the school.
oh yeah,
Is is
yeah
that
yeah.
something? Is that a campaign that you're going, or is it just a you're just talking?
Oh yeah yeah. So I feel very honored to use my platform as Miss Grand Pearland to also raise awareness on gun violence. So I will be a guest speaker at Geo's Purpose Foundation at their gala, which is meant for scholarship, where they talk about, spreading awareness in gun violence. The founder of the organization, her name is Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. I actually met her at a fashion show. And when I met her, we instantly connected, and she shared how she has a nonprofit organization to spread awareness after her youngest brother passed away from gun violence. As someone that has gone through a school shooting in high school, I like completely connected to that. I was like, "Oh my god, like I feel for you."
Do you feel comfortable in like talking about that experience or?
Yeah,
Okay.
now I do feel more comfortable talking about it. That happened October 1st, 2021. Thank God nobody, got murdered or anything, but the principal did get injured. And so, although nobody passed away, um, for the longest, I tried to believe, like, well, nobody died. Like, I shouldn't get trauma or PTSD. But then throughout time, I would catch myself getting really, really anxious, getting really sweaty with hearing the word guns or like hearing gunshots. So that was in October. And then a few months later, I hear about the Robb Elementary school shooting at Uvalde, Texas. And that's where it's like, okay, like, this is very terrible. Oh my God. And so I would catch myself having nightmares. I would have nightmares every now and then, just waking up like
Mm-hmm.
I got shot, or just being scared. Going to college in person. The first thing I would look for is an exit because you never know. I'm like, anybody can just walk in campus. They don't even check.
Yeah, I think it's a good I don't know if you can call it skill or just attention awareness of it's just a good skill or it's a good trait to have to be aware of your surroundings.
Of your surroundings, yeah.
Whether it's because of a possible shooting or you just it's always good to be aware. You can't be too comfortable. You never know who's out there. So
Yeah, yeah, you really don't. And so, yeah, life can change really fast because, like I mentioned, nobody got really, really injured.
so you weren't like nearby or like none of that.
I happened to be right upstairs,
Okay.
so I did hear the gunshots, but nobody ever imagined there was a shooter.
Right.
And so before they got the person, or I found out like what happened next, me and two of my classmates, we were hiding under the teacher's desk. And so the thought of me thinking to myself, okay, I need to mentally prepare myself that I'm not going to make it out of this room. And as I'm looking at the clock, like, these are my last minutes. So thinking about death, or like you're near a death experience, I think that's like what hurt me so much mentally. I think that hurt me mentally, especially because my family was blasting my phone. My aunt kept calling me. My mom kept calling me. My brothers. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, I'm so close to like high school graduation and I might not make it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard. And seeing my classmates also scared for their lives. Like, what is going on? Like, we just wanted answers, but we also kind of like mentally prepared ourselves that we're not gonna make it. I think that is the traumatic experience.
Right. Okay.
And so when we were exported out the campus, we had to walk through where the incident happened, stepping over sharp glass in my school, like shoes. I'm in school, and seeing blood, it's insane. Like,
Yeah.
it's something nobody should ever go through.
So what's something that you're gonna talk about, or like because you said you're gonna speak at an event, right?
Yeah, at the gala, yeah.
At the gala event. So what is it that like um because this obviously this topic is like super political.
Yeah.
Is it like a political stance on your view, or is it just how we can be ready or how you can be attentive, or like what how is that?
So, what led to me and Elizabeth be connected is that when she shared that her youngest brother passed away 2 months after high school graduation, I believe, um, because, of gun violence. I also found out that he attended the same branch as the high school charter school that I attended. So it's like two things that are relatable.
Mm.
It's nothing to like be political about. I think the purpose that I want to get out of this is just to spread awareness and as to why we should support Geo's Purpose Foundation,
Okay.
to raise money for scholarship for students that have gone through tragedies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a non-political stance.
No, non-political. At the end of the day, I personally believe that we're all human. We all go through things. There are, like you mentioned, it's definitely political. Um, but what I want to get out of it is just to spread awareness about gun violence and how it really impacts or changes someone's views in small things. Because I
Right.
never thought about guns like that until it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the issue comes.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Again, and I do respect the fact that like your purpose there is to raise awareness on tragedies and to be able to get funds for the people that go through tragedies
Mm-hmm.
and or for the scholarships.
Yeah.
So again, I know I know some of these things that we all go through. Everybody goes through some kind of traumatic experience, whether it's I mean, hopefully, not a lot of us go through something like that.
Yeah, I pray that nobody ever goes through any tragedy. And I think that's one of the biggest improvements that I have so far made, even right now, for me to talk about it without tearing up. Because yeah, like it was very bad. Like I would cry about it so much. Like can't believe this happened. But now I feel comfortable talking about it because I now accept what happened. Um, and it's like it's just a reminder that life is too short and that we have to make the most out of it, enjoy what you like to do, because at any moment your life can change, or your friend or your family's life can change, which to me it just reminded me like I have to, not that I have to, but like I want to be in good terms with everybody, make sure that everybody's okay. I think it's just more self-cautious
Okay.
about people's safety.
Yeah. No, that's good. I know. Again, there's a lot more that we can talk about. I did enjoy like your whole pageant journey,
Yeah.
going through that. I mean, now you're gonna participate again in another one with a more clear mind and a better foundation.
Yeah.
So good luck to you. I hope
Thank you.
you're able to find more vendors and more people that can support you in your scholarship,
Thank you so much.
or helping in others get their
Mhm.
scholarship.
Yeah.
It's very respectful and very admirable. And yeah, I mean, the more that you go through life, participating and doing things, not just like necessarily sitting back. I do like the fact that you're out there, you're going to these events, these networking events, you're excuse me, you're talking to people, you're having them help you in your cause, and you're helping them in their cause. It's a good symbiotic relationship that you have with people that you meet. So
Mhm.
kudos to you. You're doing a
Thank
lot.
you so much.
And
Thank you.
yeah, so if anybody wants to help you out in your causes, they can.
Yes.
If you want to leave them with something.
Yeah, yeah. If you are currently a college student that would love to apply for the scholarship applications that I'm giving away, the link is in my Instagram bio, or he'll tag the link. The deadline is June 8th. We'll be announcing the winner the next week, and then I'll have a press conference June 22nd, which is a week before my pageant weekend. Road to Miss Grand
Yeah.
Texas. Hey.
All right, and that's it. So thank you again for being a
Yes,
part of
thank
this,
you.
and yeah, hopefully anyone who's looking for a scholarship, for school, hit her up.
Yeah, feel
And
free. Like, I would love to help as many people as I can.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.